Hey guys, LA team match week 1. We disconnected during our first match, so we're going to kind of run through this quickly. We also made a lot of progress in that first battle, so not going to be as great of commentary from me, but I'll try and do it as much as we can, but we're going to speed through this pretty quick until we get up to the point where we're not anymore. So I lead with Basque Legion, my opponent leads with Jolteon, probably hoping to get a Volt Switch off of it. Which, I mean, this would be a good Volt Switch, except my main Pokemon for swapping to for this is Crocodile. And my opponent's going to put up a Substitute, which, not great, but also not the worst thing in the world. For the Jolteon, we were expecting it to be Terra Water, or Terra Ice. This was probably going to be his main Terra. So we called that, and we're going to be going to Terra Steel and hitting Earthquake. Because I wasn't sure if he was going to be as bold as I was about doing Terra turn 2. But he was. So we got that, and we protected ourselves from the Terra Blast. I knew I could not afford to lose Crocodile turn 2 to this, especially when I had it with Choice Scarf and it as my main sweeper for my opponent's team. Alright. Going through all the animations. But yeah, my opponent did not bring Ursaluna, which, I mean, I know Ursaluna definitely did not like my water-heavy team. But still, that thing, it was very scary. If he was able to bring it in on something and set up with plus speed, that hurt a bit. Alright, anyways, Earthquake here. That hurt a bit more than our DC had it, unfortunately. We still got the KO, though. I'm just not sure what we're going to do about Crocodile later on, because this is the... Let's see, Crook doesn't take any other damage until we start swapping into spikes. Anyways, he sends out Crulio, who's going to Spore, which is what we were expecting, but that's why we have safety goggles on Skeledirge. And the fact that he didn't bother with Earth Power tells me he's probably not carrying Earth Power. I think he would probably opted in for Giga Drain or Energy Ball, just because of my water-heavy team. Let's see here. Going for Yawn. And he's going to switch into Captain Jack, which is his Samurott, which I learned later on is Assault Vest, but that definitely makes this thing a lot harder to deal with. Because a good deal of what I wanted to hit this thing with and what I wanted to have set up on it is... not that. Let's see here. Switch to Dragapult and switch to Urshifu. Okay. So I swapped in Urshifu because I thought this would be a good opportunity. Either he swaps out and I get a Pokemon to come in, get a clean switch in for Urshifu's higher deep bulk, or I get to put it in on a Sleeping Samurott and start breaking it. Anyways, Dragapult, not the greatest idea in the world, but I also thought the idea of it being specs was pretty low. And it has a tendency to use U-turn. So I thought it would be safer to do Surging Strikes here than actually swap out. And... ew. That's not quite right. My opponent was supposed to U-turn here. But ultimately that won't matter too much just because that's extra damage on Urshifu that won't matter in the end. Urshifu dies to a Dragapult Shadow Ball later on after we KO this thing. This was a Choice Banded Urshifu, so it was made to break through his defensive Pokemon. He didn't have a good defensive Pokemon for Urshifu until he Terra'd Mew, which we already know he didn't Terra the Mew, so he Terra'd the Jolteon, which we KO'd. Alright, so now we got that. Dragon Ball comes back in. And it's going to proceed to use Shadow Ball on our Shifu. We just decided to let our Shifu go down at this point and hit this thing with Surging Strikes. Alright, our Shifu is done. And let's see here. Then I swap into Wigglytuff. Alright, we frisk it, find out it's Choice Scarf. Let's see here. Wigglytuff uses Stealth Rocks here because it's a switch. Alright. So we use Stealth Rocks this turn. Then we use Perish Song, so we're forcing my opponent to switch when he can't get a good hit off. We did not get the defense drop like we did last time. I'm not sure if that's going to play into anything later or not. Then we wish. My opponent's going to use Knockoff. No more leftovers for Wigglytuff. Unfortunate, but we do eventually lose the Wigglytuff. At least we're supposed to. I'm not entirely certain if we will or not. Let's see, we wished, and then we swapped out to Basculegion. Yeah. Because I think the idea was that this thing was going to Liquidation and hit Basculegion for not very effective, and then we get healed back for the Wish. Alright. And then the idea here is that we fake out the, not the move, but like the actual strategy. Last time we swapped Strain to Skeledirge. So we're gonna instead do Ice Beam and actually stay in. But my opponent switches here back to Samurott. They take the Stealth Rock. We use Ice Beam. We lose some HP. And then after that, we swap out back to Wigglytuff, who probably takes the... actually doesn't... crap. So I think we're gonna have to take an extra turn just for this thing to KO Wigglytuff. So me and my opponent are just going to play this out until Wigglytuff dies to this thing. So I'll just keep hitting Stealth Rocks until it does that. I kind of figured that might be the case after we didn't take the first defense drop. Which is unfortunate, because I definitely could have used Wigglytuff a bit more. Oh my god. This is ridiculous. Now I feel really bad that I lost Wigglytuff in that first battle. By and large, Wigglytuff probably should have lived. Alright, anyways. After that, we go into... Crocodile. No. Yes. And I use Earthquake, and my opponent switches to Toadscruel to eat the Earthquake, which exactly as I predict, but was hoping that I'd give more damage to this thing than I did. There is one good piece of good news for this, and that is the Toadscruel is within range of Ice Beam, so now I kind of just need to get that. Let's see here. After that, Crocodile. Let's see. Crocodile switches to Skeledirge. So now we're going back to the idea of having Skeledirge tank the Spore. Alright, switches to Samurott. I'm just gonna let my opponent know that. Anyways, we're yawning. Alright, so my opponent did do knockoff this turn. Let's see here. We yawn, and so now we're on slack off. Alright, so unfortunately now we have to deal with my opponent sleeping, which is a huge issue. So we're going to swap Crocodile in. Alright, so let's see here. And then I swap to... And I swap back to Skeledirge, which is unfortunate. Alright, and it looks like my opponent is ready to just start off with what we're doing now, which I'm also fine with at this point. So, I can't click Yawn because, let's see here, 2 swaps, so he's got another turn still, unfortunately. So we're going to go ahead and Roar here. Alright. But because I know my opponent is not... I have no idea if my opponent wakes up or not this turn, I can't click Yawn. Toadscruel comes back out. And they've got Berry. Okay. I'm fine with that. And I think we're going to go ahead and Torch Song here. Just because I want Crulio down as much as possible. Because I think Crulio probably takes a crunch far better than this. And I also just learned a very important fact here. Actually, no. He could have just used Spore. We're going to go ahead and Roar. We're going to be down 1 sleep turn. no matter what happens here. Okay, I don't care about that. Roar will go through that. He has to be able to KO Skeledirge from here, though, is the thing for him. And I don't know if he can. Giga Drain, okay. So he can't. We've got Spore. We've got probably Rapid Spin. We've got Giga Drain, and we got Sub. So he can't do anything with this against us. That's good. Actually, I should have just slacked off. Nope. Low priority. Not dealing with this crap. Nope, we got the Mew. With leftovers. Alright, I think we're just gonna hit Roar again here. He has to KO Skeledirge. Because otherwise I just keep roaring until I get enough damage on everything else that I don't care. I think that's the main idea here with Skeledirge. He has to try and KO this thing. Draining Kiss. Okay. So he's running the Calm Mindset on this thing. That's not going to help him against the Crocodile, thankfully. Okay, here's the one thing that can actually KO Crocodile, or Skeledirge, and this is far more preferred, actually. We're going to yawn this thing, even though we're going to die this turn, probably. Okay. Alright, so I think the main idea here becomes Basculegion and Agility. I think we live the knockoff. Ah, crap, he's at 50%, over 50% health. No, Shadow, this was not the play. I thought he was lower than this. Oh, God. That was a crit, too. God dang it. Alright, alright. Yeah. Unfortunately, as soon as I lose Crocodile, I lose, because, unfortunately, Colossal cannot hit, Dragapult. He's gonna Aqua Jet here anyways, so he should be able to KO Crocodile from here with Aqua Jet. Heck, he could be running Torrent for all I know, and that would do it too. Now the real question is what does he expect me to lock myself into? And the other question becomes is how much speed investment did he bother with? Okay, he swapped into the Toad Scroll right here. Okay, we get attack up. And then he swaps in the Dragapult to Shadow Ball, and then we lose. Yep. No, I choked there. For some reason, I thought the yeah, and I didn't pack anything on Colossal that could hurt this thing. Not that it matters. Even if I did, I don't have any. I don't. This is gonna take a bit. I was hoping I could take care of the Dragapult faster than this, but I didn't. But I didn't get to that. And I wasn't really expecting him to Scarf it either. I mean, sure, it outspeeds my Scarfers, but what was he going to hit with it against me? Which, realistically, is exactly what happened. The main issue is that Crocodile took so much damage early on. Oh well, it was a far closer match. It was a far closer match than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to get blown out pretty quick. But we did our best. I choked a bit at the end. Not sure if it still would have saved the match or not, but definitely would have made it much better than it was. But we'll get back to that with next week, hopefully.